Hello, hope y'all are all doing very good. It is February 8th, and today, of course, I'm back. So today I'm going to be talking about an ongoing severe weather event that we're looking at in the south. Then I'm going to be talking about a potential or a likely winter storm in portions of the central U.S. up into the Midwest. We're going to be talking about that. And then towards the end of the video, we're just going to be talking about some type of like winter weather event that we could be looking at across maybe areas of the southeast this weekend. I hope you're all having a great Wednesday, and let's go ahead and get started. So we have an enhanced risk across portions of Mississippi, southeastern Arkansas, northeastern Louisiana there until, well, pretty much for tonight. 10 sig total risk, so that, and we only have a 15% wind and a 5% hail, so that enhanced risk is for the tornado threat there with that 10 sig risk. And currently, what we're looking at is we have a tornado warning supercell kind of straight north of or like straight northeast of Baton Rouge, kind of getting ready to move into Mississippi here. We can see it right there, and velocity wise, not bad, not definitely. So we have some very clear rotation there. Take a look at correlation coefficient, and nothing like that's very blatant like with a CC drop or anything, but we do have kind of a little dropout in that area right there, but I wouldn't. It's kind of hard to tell, but definitely that storm does have the potential to produce pretty soon if it already is not producing. Yeah, and then throughout tonight, we're looking at like reflectivity here. We'll take some soundings. So we can see those storms there, and then further west we have another line. We can see kind of in here, it's kind of looks pretty broken up though. Or let's switch radars and just see if there actually is a line. Let's just let this load. Hopefully this radar is not down. That's one thing I don't like about GR2 is you can't tell if like radars are down or not. But yeah, we do have kind of a broken line going through most of central Louisiana there. Which we can see that sounding is very contaminated. So here's another one that's also contaminated. Okay. But yeah, I mean we do have kind of that decent little tornado threat in those areas, especially with these supercells initiating ahead of the line. We will see that tornado threat even higher. So overnight tonight, about midnight, these storms are getting ready to move into Alabama. We do start to lose like that instability that we really need. We can see that instability kind of quickly disappears as we go throughout tonight. And also it's kind of like it's behind the line, or kind of like a little bit. We don't have a whole lot in front of the line anymore. But then like closer towards the actual coast, we do still have that remaining instability left over, and so that's going to kind of lead to our tornado threat really existing like mainly along the coast as we get like well overnight. But that doesn't mean like the threat further north is going to be kind of gone, which as we can see it's really not, but it does quickly drop off as these storms move into like Alabama, according to the SPC there, which I mean we can see the HRRR indicates them completely dying before they go into as they go into Alabama, and then pretty much being gone, but completely before they go into Georgia with just a couple of showers left over. So yeah, that's those storms. And then on the other side of things we have like winter weather. This is kind of the start of our winter storm that we're going to be watching. So right now, west of the Oklahoma City area, we can see we have a couple of MPing reports of snow. Radar is also picking up some snow in some areas, but definitely some snow falling in this area west of Oklahoma City, maybe down by Lawton as I make this video. And we can see kind of how the HRRR does indicate that. And throughout tonight, we do see a little bit of snow maybe moving into the Oklahoma City area. Accumulations aren't going to be significant with this, though. Mainly just some back-end like snow showers briefly. But then where we could start to see accumulations is as you go up into like the northeastern area of Kansas here. We could see some heavy wet snow kind of mix in the backside of this low. Accumulations in this area probably will not be significant, but you could get some pretty heavy snowfall rates, but it's just going to be very wet snow. But then as you get into northern Missouri, we can see it completely switches over for a pretty decent period of time. So that's where you're going to start to see those accumulations actually begin. Like maybe Kansas City will also probably pick up a little bit of some minor accumulations from this as well. For that heads up there. So total snowfall accumulations like down in this region here. From this very spotty amounts of maybe up to like a half inch, 3/4 of an inch in Oklahoma. I don't think we're gonna see more than like an inch, maybe at tops an inch in some areas in Oklahoma. But then as we get up into the Kansas City area, we can start to see maybe some areas getting more up to like the 1 to 2 inch range, and then northern Missouri, which this area up here it's still snowing, so keep that in mind. So we're gonna look at that in just a second. But this area here, snow has ended. We see it pick up, 2 to 4 inches in some areas. So not a bad little winter storm for some areas in northern Missouri there. And let's switch over to here. So yeah, we can see that Thursday morning. This is 6 a.m. here. We can see that snow moving into eastern Iowa there. It starts off as rain in most areas, but then as we get that rain to fall, get that cooling, and we start to see everything switch over to snow. And just a big pocket of heavy snow throughout. This is Thursday at 16Z. This would be about 10 a.m. We're seeing pretty heavy snow across areas of eastern Iowa, northern Missouri, maybe like right along the Iowa Illinois border as well. But in between the rain and the snow, we could be looking at like a minor icing event. Not really an ice storm by far, but maybe some freezing rain or sleet in that area. Kind of right on the border between that rain and that snow. And now we can kind of look further into this, go out. So Thursday afternoon, or Thursday at noon, we're looking at the snow starting to fall in northern Michigan. But we have rain all the way up into like pretty far up in Michigan. Got that heavy snow falling across areas now in northwest Illinois. And then that does wrap around kind of into the Chicago area, maybe with a couple of snow showers on the backside Thursday evening into Thursday night. But accumulations will likely not be significant. It's we're gonna want to watch for actual significant, not really significant, but decent accumulations is going to be like right in this area here. So in big cities like Madison, Wisconsin, could pick up some snow. Like definitely, I probably should shift that area a little further south in Wisconsin, but like Madison, Wisconsin could pick up some decent snowfall from this. But areas like Milwaukee or Chicago will likely not. Milwaukee, though, on the other hand, could pick up a little bit, but it's not going to be significant for like Milwaukee or anything. But in northern Michigan, after we start off as rain in a lot of areas, we get that dynamic cooling, switch over to snow, and then for Thursday night we have another burst of snow on the backside of the low in northern Michigan. So definitely some decent accumulations in that area as well. Looking at total snowfall accumulations across these areas, we look at generally like 3 to 6 inches for most of eastern Iowa, like northern Missouri, where we talked about before, all the way up into Wisconsin, and northern Michigan, generally 3 to 6 inches in some of those far northern areas, and further south into like most of northern Illinois, like not near like the Iowa Wisconsin border up there, but like Rockford area, maybe like a dusting to like a little bit of snow from any of those snow showers on the backside of this. So yeah, but we see this. We have this one pocket though. This is what we're gonna want to watch, is where this pocket sets up. Right now, it's looking like this area of eastern Iowa and the southern Wisconsin, that northwestern tip of Illinois, where we could be looking at like maybe 8, 9, 10 inches of snow. We can take a look at the NAM 3 just for kind of a comparison here, and it's very similar with where we see that pocket. Definitely, like about although it's more up into Wisconsin than it is down in this area here, but very, very similar where we see a pocket of heavier snow. So definitely more than 6 inches can be kind of expected in that pocket, unless we could see some like slight shifts with it, like north or like a little bit further north or a little bit further south, but it's pretty consistent. And this also isn't that far out. I mean, this is happening tomorrow pretty much. And with the new run of the HRRR, it does look to be practically happening over the same area that we saw with the 18Z. So yeah, now the next thing I want to talk about is the potential winter weather event in the southeast. So now, I mean, a lot of things I'm going to talk about with this are likely going to change, because it's pretty hard to get like wintry precip or like any wintry weather in the southeast with the type of pattern we're having, where it's just pretty much consistently warm. I mean, a lot of cities in the southeast, like Charlotte, was in the 70s today, or got, I think, right up to about 70. A good bit of North Georgia did, Central Georgia, South Carolina, and also North Carolina, which we just talked about. So I mean, it's pretty warm. So it's kind of weird to be talking about snow, but I wouldn't really. I'm more or less talking about like these areas here. So when I actually pull up like maps with snowfall accumulations that are forecasted, don't even look at accumulations anywhere. But don't even if you see like a pocket of snow like all the way down in here, just completely ignore that for now, because it's gonna change with this, because it's very hard to forecast these types of events, and I'll tell you why in just a second. We're about to see why. So Friday evening here, we're looking at kind of like a disorganized like low pressure system across the southeast. Definitely we have an upper level low. We take a look at 500 millibar height anomalies here, and we can see that upper level low kind of go straight through the southeast there, and like temperature anomalies just throughout this we have pockets of below average temperatures across the south. And let's go back to what we were looking at before. But so what happens is we see this slowly move east, and then by Saturday it starts to get more organized pretty much right as it gets into the southeast. Saturday night here, we're looking at our low right off the coast. Starting to see some like winter precip across the areas of the Carolinas up into Virginia, and then quickly kind of finishes off with a back end burst of snow across areas of areas of Georgia and South Carolina there. So what we can kind of get from this is that the GFS is hinting at like a dynamic cooling event with maybe some like mixing in heavy wet snow on the backside of this low across these areas here. But like it's very like hard to kind of depict where this is actually going to occur, kind of based off the GFS. The GFS is switching around pretty much every run with this of where we where we see the snow, but it's been pretty consistent on us seeing like this type of snowfall event somewhere in the Carolinas or Georgia. So we could potentially see that. We're not really going to look at snowfall accumulations off the GFS, but where there's a little more high confidence that we could actually see some accumulating snow is up in like western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee. Although the new GFS kind of shifted away from that, but we go back to the last run and we had a little more snow in that area. We can see the 12Z also indicated that that snow mixing down into the Carolinas and Georgia. The 06Z this morning also did. But I mean, this time of year, it's pretty hard to see snow this far south. Like, I mean, that's Dublin, Georgia, right there. I mean, Eastman. I mean, that's very far south, all the way down to like Savannah, almost. So I wouldn't really bet on this happening, just because I mean the climatology really doesn't support this at all. But I definitely think that like this could disappoint a lot of people, but it also could maybe overperform in some areas. So that's kind of when we take a look at the European model here. The latest run of the European, the 18Z is currently coming out, but it does not go out far enough. So we got to go back to the 12Z. And very similar situation. We see some snow showers in Arkansas Saturday. But then we see this more like winter storm kind of centered over the mountains in western North Carolina, like eastern Tennessee, northern Georgia. I mean, northern Georgia sees a decent winter storm, so there's like upstate South Carolina, most of western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee. A lot of areas see snowfall from this. Which this I'd say is a little bit more possible than, or not really possible, I'm not going to say that. This is a little more easy to kind of get this time of year than the last system. This has definitely happened more often in the month of February than what the GFS is showing us. So we'll see, but definitely with this system, Saturday and Sunday, like I said before, some areas could like be very disappointed from this. Like maybe, I mean that's kind of thing. Like in areas like in this area here, we could just end up completely with cold rain in all these areas, or some areas could end up actually seeing some like snow mix in. We're not. It's gonna be hard to tell until we get to like in range of the shorter range models like the Nam, and then the Nam 3, and then the HRRR. It's gonna be kind of hard to know exactly what we're gonna see. Also, considering the European and the GFS are now like very different, and actually, I mean, since they're so different, we'll actually take a look at the Canadian for the first time. I don't think I've looked at the Canadian in like over a year on this channel, but it's a little similar to the Euro with that snowfall like centered over these areas here. Definitely actually warmer because we see rain in eastern Tennessee, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, so we'll talk about this more tomorrow or Friday. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll be back either tomorrow or Friday. Just kind of depends what happens. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it.